Good evening. What's up, everybody? Tony Cotillo right here of the Tony Cotillo Show. As always, brought to you and produced by Rise and React Media and all our betting partners, BetQL, Odd Shopper, Tails, Better Picks, Underdog, Sleeper, you name it. You want to get involved in the program? Very, very simple. Comment, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you would like to call into the program, we are open for calls as well. And I'm going to put that in the chat like I always do. And every now and then, somebody wants to give a call, which is cool. Let's get involved. Let's get in the conversation. Because tonight, again, we're going to talk about other things than just who's going to fire a coach, who's going to bench a guy, right? Again, we're going to talk about all different things tonight. I got a nice top three. As always, we're going to talk a little bit about a GOAT in the wrestling world that is going to be wrestling his last match coming up. But we're going to talk about some winter meeting stuff, comings and goings, and talk about a fraud in the NFL, which I like to say, man. And by the way, shout out to Mrs. C for this amazing peppermint hot chocolate. It's ridiculous. I'm probably going to gain 20 pounds drinking peppermint hot chocolate this entire season, man. Like I can't stop. I can't stop. I just can't. It's insane. I don't know if you've ever had peppermint hot chocolate. If you've never had peppermint hot chocolate, I highly suggest you make it. Okay. You make it. So it's highly addictive, man. It's highly addictive. And I'm a big Starbucks guy, right? I've always been a Starbucks guy because I like their specialty drinks. But I will say this, man, learning how to make the stuff on your own, man. And again, if you have a wife or any significant other, again, check it out, man. They are the king or the queen, so to speak, because they just take care of you in so many different ways, man. Because I would never know. I would never know. But let's get involved. Last night was a tremendous conversation. It was. I had so many people hit me up. We're like, yo, finally back, real talk. And again, that's what I like to do. And I told you I've been working on a lot of different things and for various different people and different platforms. But most importantly, I got to get back to doing the live thing. Like we're doing the podcasting, which is great, but I do like to obviously engage with the live audience, whether it's sports betting, whether it's fantasy football, or whether it's just local or national sports talk. And I like to cover a variety of different topics, right? That's what we want to do. We want to cover a variety of different topics. And tonight, we're going to talk about the Madden 26 rankings drop. Now, they don't just drop, okay? It's they're updated, okay? And I want to talk about who's on the list as related to football, because I think a lot of this that they go by statistics, which is why I'm really shocked at one of our Eagles in Philadelphia has been just conveniently left off the list. And I want to know why. Again, you want to get involved, like, subscribe, as always, to the conversation. Make sure wherever you're watching, get over to that YouTube channel at Tony Cotillo Show. Make sure you get over there and you check into the discussion. You check in, to the other content that's there, because there's just a lot. I will consume you within the entire week. And if you are a betting guy, and if you are a betting gal, right there, make sure you get over to the free play page right there, courtesy of Odd Shopper Tales, where it's just not me, a bunch of expert betting people that are just dropping free stuff, no questions asked, just some really cool conversation. They got a new comment badge out, and they could talk back and forth with your specific cappers that you like. It's a really cool concept. It really is. But let's drop right into the Madden rankings. Okay, let me bring them up right here. And again, and this is just where this is the active rankings right now. The top defensive players are where they stand right now in Madden. Because if you haven't played Madden, I grew up on Madden, EA Sports, right? It's in the game. Like I remember waiting in line for the Madden drop, like at GameStop, right? Waiting in line for that Madden drop. I always want to talk about it, right? I always want to build my franchise. Now they do like the all Madden stuff. I never really did that. I wanted to do the fantasy draft and build my franchise and be my own GM and make the trades and sign the contracts. I wanted to do all of that. So that's why I was always there for the Madden drop. But if you haven't played Madden, you don't know about Madden, what happens is with Madden, they consistently update their rankings. They're really good at that. That's why you pay so much money for the game. I think it's like 70, $80 now, which is like absolutely ridiculous. You need a second job. You need a second job again if you're playing Madden. But looking at these top defensive players, as we look at this list, and much respect to everybody on this list. Okay. Much respect. And Myles Garrett, let's just look at Myles Garrett, number one, who's essentially going to break Michael Strahan's sack record this year. He's got 4 games left and he needs 3 sacks, maybe 4 sacks. It's nuts. Mind-boggling what he's doing out there in Cleveland. It's a shame. He's out there to die, right? He's out there to die. He's never going to win a chip in Cleveland. But, hey, he got paid. That's what he wanted. But that's another talk for another day. 99 Myles Garrett. Just transferring that to the NFL playing field, why he's number one at 99. He's a game changer. Micah Parsons, same thing. Has just proved his worth in Green Bay. Obviously, still shocked that Dallas was afforded to, or really had the gumption, I'll say, to let him go and trade him, which I'm still, blown away. I really am. And then we go Max Crosby. I think he gets forgotten about how dominating he is because of all the issues that are going on in Vegas right now with the Raiders. If you've watched, listen, you can watch Red Zone, just to be up on the comings and goings of Max Crosby and just see how dominant he is at the defensive end position. So a guy whose motor never stops at 97. But here's where we get into some questions. Especially if you're from Philadelphia. And I'm going to read some rankings to you and read some statistics, which have been fantastic. Again, this was all fueled by these Madden ratings. Patrick Surtain, okay? Loves Patrick Surtain. Love him. Fantastic corner out there getting it done for Denver, right? Number one corner. Yes, he's an absolute number one corner for sure. I'm not going to argue that. I'm going to give him kind of the GOAT status. Been around, continues to play at a high level. No problem. I'm in. Then we go Fred Warner. Listen, horrific injury this year, but besides that, absolute stud. We know all about that. There's a reason why he's ranked where he's ranked. Now, here's where we get some questions, in my opinion. Christian Gonzalez, the fantastic, was it second, third year corner out there in New England. Listen, just phenomenal. 96. Derek Brown, another underrated defensive player for the Carolina Panthers. Everybody forgets about these Carolina Panthers, man. These Carolina Panthers are no joke out there. They just don't want to give in. They just don't want to give in, man. I love it. And then you go Chris Jones, who Chris Jones blows things up the middle, right? Not a problem. I have no question. Listen, I feel like if you had a healthy season of Jalen Carter, that you'd see him on this list, but he hasn't been healthy. When he did, he's only had a few dominant games. So I could see why he's not on this list. And then we come to, listen, let's go to number 10, Cam Hayward, which much respect to Cam Hayward, continues to get it done, continues to do his thing. No problem with that. I have no problem with Cam Hayward. Where I have the issue is with Jalen Ramsey at number 9. And the reason why I have the issue, and listen, I love Jalen Ramsey. I do. I love Jalen Ramsey. I love his attitude. I love his swag. I love everything about him. I think he went to the perfect scenario out there in Pittsburgh with the perfect coach, the perfect culture. I love it. I love it. However, I don't think he should be ranked above Quinyon Mitchell. How is Quinyon Mitchell The uber talented second-year player that has been starting since day one, Quinyon Mitchell of the Philadelphia Eagles. How is he not above Jalen Ramsey? I damn near would put him above Christian Gonzalez. Like, again, hear me out. When we talk about Quinyon Mitchell, and I'm going to take this away right now. When we talk about Quinyon Mitchell, I listen, I want to read you some statistics about Quinyon Mitchell because they're so important. Because sometimes we just go by name alone, right? Sometimes we just go by name alone. And I don't think that's right. Okay? I don't think that's right. I think we have to look deep inside. And let me just bring up some statistics, okay? Right? Let me just bring up some statistics. This is straight from the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, this is straight from the Philadelphia Eagles, the director of football communications, John Gannode. Right off the bat, this dude just throwing it out there, and I love it. I love it. Okay, first in catch rate allowed, 41.3%. First in tight windows forced, 41.3%. First, this is a huge one. First in average target separation, 1.8 yards. Are you serious? Under 2? That's elite. That's like saying a below 1.0 whip is elite. Well, listen, a 1.8 yards per target separation is elite, okay? Tied for first in fewest passing touchdowns allowed, 0. Second in yak per reception allowed, 2.5. Third in passer rating allowed, which is when he's targeted, when they're throwing at him, 61.5. Fourth in forced incompletions at 13, and tied for fourth in passes defended at 14. Mitchell has not allowed an opponent TD in 510 coverage snaps this season, despite covering 4 of the top 7 NFL wide receivers in receiving touchdowns this year. And by the way, his updated NFL quarterback rankings after allowing 0 catches on 3 targets in week 14 are what I just read you. So my question is, how is Quinyon Mitchell not ranked above Jalen Ramsey in the Madden list? How? I'm curious. So I'm shocked at that. Now I look at it as, is it because of all the adversity that we're seeing right now in Philadelphia? Is it because of all the adversity? Is it because of everything going on? Is he being overshadowed? Right? Is he being overshadowed? That's what I would ask. Is Quinyon Mitchell being overshadowed because of all the adversity in Philadelphia? It's something, listen, it's an obvious question, right? It's an obvious question because there is a lot of negative press in Philadelphia, and so many people are focused on why the offense isn't working. You know, what's going on with Saquon Barkley? What's going on with A.J. Brown? What's going on with Jalen Hurts? So many people are talking about that. Nobody's looking at the absolute elite play of Quinyon Mitchell. And by the way, his counterpart, Cooper DeJean, not too damn bad either. Okay. So I look at these Madden rankings, and number one, I put some emphasis into them because listen, everybody says, it's a video game. It is, but remember, it's a real-time video game where it's looking at where the ranks are. That's why they didn't just drop today as the original rankings. They dropped as updated rankings because they're consistently updating them. It's important. It's important to note. Okay? It's very, very, very important to note. Again, like, subscribe. If you're following the show at Tony Catola Show right here on YouTube, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that notification bell. Again, I'm not streaming live on X. I'm not doing it anymore, not paying for the premium. So everything right here is going to be specifically on the YouTube channel. If you would like to do a call in, if you'd like to get on the program, very, very simple. Hit the link in the description, hit the link in the chat. Very simple. All you need is a phone. That's it. There's no camera, no nothing. You just need a phone. Now, while we're on the Eagles, and again, if you're chiming in, let me know what you think about the Madden ratings. Let me think if you think Quinyon Mitchell has been snubbed. Let me ask you that. Do you think Quinyon Mitchell should be above Christian Gonzalez? Do you think he should be above Jalen Ramsey? I think he should be above both. I think he should be above both. Again, that's the way I feel. That's the way I feel, and I'm sticking to it. Now, let me bring up a couple things. Last night, we had a great conversation, and we talked a lot about what's going on with the Philadelphia Eagles. Again, this is the Tony Cottola Show where it's not just Philly. You see it bets, fantasy sports. I took a couple weeks off for vacations, but we're back on Sunday morning again, dropping what we do every Sunday morning. We get ready for NFL Sunday. So we'll get the betting talk sparked back up. We'll be dropping some new plus money prop train content throughout the week for Odd Shopper Tail. So make sure you keep locked in for that as well. Some fun stuff. I do things a little differently, right? Do things a little differently. So we'll continue to do that as well. We talked about a really good discussion about the Philadelphia Eagles. And I want to, again, let me just do something real fast because I want to make sure that I have everything set up right here. Let's share this. It's funny. So I had a bunch of people hit me up and they were a little upset about my Nick Sirianni rant. Okay. Again, let me work this. I'm a one-man show here. So I wanted to know why it's not okay to question the head coach. I want to know why the head coach needs pass. I do. I want to know why he gets a pass. Because I look at this as whether the collapse happens or not, this is something that cannot happen. And what I mean by that is this team is too good to have no answers. And I think that's my biggest issue. This team, there's no answers right now. Nobody can figure it out. Nobody understands. And that's my biggest concern. That nobody understands what's going on right now with this Philadelphia Eagles team. So you have to question the head coach. That's what you have to do. And for people to say, listen, this is with all due respect. I definitely listen. I respect the hell out of a lot of people. Okay, I do, and I think everybody should be able to have their own opinion. But God damn it, man, can we understand for once? Can we understand for once that sometimes you got to have a little sense of urgency? Sometimes you got to stand up and give a real opinion. And I'm sorry, but I'm not going to take heat, and I'm not ashamed to take heat for saying if this season goes down the way I feel it's going to go down, okay, and we've watched and witnessed everything that continues to unravel here in Philadelphia, not just from one player, not just from two players, not just from three players, not just from one coach, not just from two coaches, from everybody from top to bottom, the coach has to take the heat and he has to be questioned. Listen, I understand the guy won a Super Bowl. I get it. And I know everybody wants to talk about record. Everybody wants to talk about record. Everybody. And I always say, so does that mean you just get away with whatever you want? Look out in Pittsburgh, and I'm a Mike Tomlin guy. They just continue to ride Mike Tomlin. I think he's a great coach. I love Mike Tomlin, but still hasn't been able to get past the first round recently, right? But they just keep riding them. Nothing changes. Nothing changes. My concern here in Philadelphia with Nick Sirianni is I just feel personally that he's silent. Nobody's listening to Nick Sirianni anymore. And when that happens, what you see is what you get. And what I mean by that is when that happens, everything starts to unravel, right? Let's think about that. Everything starts to unravel. And what starts to unravel? All phases of the game: offense, defense, special teams. Guys look lost. The plays are off. Timing is off. Penalties. Guys spitting in people's face. Arguing, right? Talking about, putting their little cryptic tweets out. Dude, that's all on the coach, man. That's all on the coach. And if you know, as well as we do in Philadelphia, that these teams are run by the upper management. And that's why we call him the CEO coach in Nick Sirianni, because we know this is run by Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie. And the system is there. The system is there. I heard somebody today on the radio talk about, is it really that far-fetched to think that somebody can't come in here in the first year and take this Eagles team to a Super Bowl? Is it really that far-fetched? I don't think it is. I don't. If you look around the league, if you take away the veteran coaches, right? You take away the veteran coaches, take away a guy like a McVay, take away a guy like Sean Payton. If you look around and listen, a guy who is completely shifted my mindset, which is Liam Cohen out there in Jacksonville. You look at him and you go, wow, interesting. Liam Cohen. Did we really think that Duval guy would have this much, it's a Mankind reference, have this much testicular fortitude? Would we really think that? I wouldn't think that. This dude has shown that he knows how to coach up a team. Ben Johnson, a guy that I was on. I continue to say, listen, this dude, I like him. I think he has an attitude about him. I think he has a cockiness about him, a confidence. Listen, he reminds me of a Sean McVay, where Sean McVay knows all about himself. He's not afraid to say it, but he proves it, right? Ben Johnson, he's showing he can win. So why can't a new guy come in here with this system and this support staff and still do the same thing? Again, it's just looking forward. But I think we deserve to look forward, right? I don't think we could just kind of leave it by the wayside, right? I don't think that can happen. I don't think we should be able to just lay it by the wayside and be like, you know what? Nah, we're good. Just give him another year. Even though nobody's listening to him, let's just hope that next year is different. Man, you have seen week in and week out that this guy looks completely lost. He looks like he doesn't have the answers, and he doesn't. He doesn't know what to do. So if that's the case, if you don't know what to do, and you don't know how to do it, guess what? That means your message is now silent, right? It means your message is now silent. And now that your message is silent, now guess what happens? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So again, that's why I feel, listen, I feel like I'm a professional. I don't feel like I'm a fanboy at all. I'm not a dude who just streams on TikTok and just screams out on unfiltered shit so I can get clicks and I can get follows. No, I'm being dead ass serious that I look at this team right now and it's got a head coach problem, right? This guy could be the greatest X's and O's coach in the world. He could. Whether he won a Super Bowl or not is irrelevant. All I know right now, this isn't Andy Reid, bro. Okay? This ain't Bill Belichick. Stop putting Nick Sirianni in to this kind of stuff, man. Stop. Stop doing it, because that's my biggest issue. My biggest issue is that these guys are elevating Nick Sirianni onto another platform. They really, really are. And it's just it. And guess what? I'm going to talk the way I talk, man. And I'm not going to apologize for it. And again, I will say this before I bring a guest in. I will say this like I've always said. At the end of the day, I don't want to be right. But when your favorite team, the team you bleed for, when you bring out some kind of negativity or some kind of bad vibe, you don't want it to be right. However, my eyes and my gut tells me different. I hope I'm dead ass wrong. I will eat shit every single day. I don't matter. I'd love to win another Super Bowl. All I'm saying is I look at this team right now. It's completely flawed, man. It's completely flawed. But man, we got guests popping in, man. I'm gonna bring my man Japan in. Yo, what's up, buddy?
Not much. I was able to catch your video yesterday about Kyle Schwarber and how you don't think it was a good signing, and I actually liked your point of view. At first, I was disagreeing with it, but
Okay.
then after I listened to it, I don't know much about baseball. I just know Kyle hits bombs. But then you got to talking. He doesn't do it in the postseason, and that's what actually matters. You were hitting all the key points, and I listened to it, and I really did appreciate the points you
Dude, listen,
pointed on
man.
there.
You know what, Japan? I try to put different spins on things, and the thing is, I don't fabricate it. Like that's really how I think. You know what I mean? Like, and again, I love Kyle Schwarber, and just for anybody out there that doesn't know how, I will say this: baseball aside, Kyle Schwarber is one of the most natural and most infectious human beings. He does so much charity work within the city of Philadelphia, and it's not even talked about because he's not an on camera kind of guy. He doesn't want the accolades. He does so much. So for that, we thank him, and I love it. I just can't get past the fact, Japan, this guy is going to be 38 years old, right? And again, he's been doing it for a while. Can only do it for so long. And I'm looking at, and I know everybody nationally can look at it too. You can look at what happened to Bryce Harper last year. Oh, Bryce Harper loved the guy, but he's not an elite player anymore, right? So if you have a team with 4 or 5 guys that are kind of over their prime and have already shown their hand for the last 3 years, I just feel like they need to flip the script a little bit. That was my biggest point with Kyle Schwarber.
And I think the point that you made was they've already hit their proms and they're going on the downslope.
That's yes, the ceiling,
And
right? It's like
the biggest thing you said is consistency. You can only say consistent so long, so you have a small window of being consistent in baseball. And that
yes.
when you hit that nail on the hammer, and that I love that point you made yesterday's show.
No, listen, man, I appreciate it, and it's again, I think sometimes people get just caught up with the money and the numbers. They don't really break it down just from I say dumb it down a lot. They don't just dumb it down. Like we could talk about any analytics we want. We can talk about anything, but if even the great in basketball, the GOAT and Michael Jordan can only be great for so long. Eventually the ceiling is there for X amount. It's almost like you look at the year he had last year with 50 plus home runs, and he's averaged, I think, 47 home runs a year for the 4 years he's been here. And that's the most ever for him. How long can he just keep that going? I mean, I don't see him doing that for the next 5 years. So I look at this as being a 2-year window. Like this legitimately to me is you got 2 years, meaning Philadelphia Phillies have 2 years to win a World Series with Kyle Schwarber at an elite level hitting bombs. If not, it's just going to go down after that. So that's why I will say this. If they do some other things creatively in the trade market, or maybe they move some money around or things of that nature, maybe I'll get happy. But for right now, listen, I love Kyle Schwarber. I'm just like, I'm like, all right, let's see what happens next. That's all.
And that's it. To maybe change subjects, Jalen Hurts. I'm a huge fan of Jalen Hurts. I loved him when he was college. He's always had his back in the corner and always came out on top. I think that he might be hurt. I don't know what. I don't. There's something wrong because he's never been in this much of a slump
He
in
not,
playing
he
football since I've been
hasn't.
watching him. Since I've been watching him.
He hasn't. Now, I'll ask you this. I don't know if you remember what my point was on Jalen, and if you were a big fan of Jalen, I'm curious if you agree with this or not. But Jalen's a very hard on himself, very accountable, very prideful person. He's been coached hard by his father for so many years. He's always been in elite programs. He's been through a ton of adversity. He's always come out on top. And my thought process is Jalen Hurts has limitations. We all know that. Everybody has limitations. There's not many quarterbacks in the NFL that you could say are just that, reign supreme. So looking at that, I feel like, again, this comes down to coaching a little bit, where coaching is asking him to do things that he's not comfortable doing. And they're what his limitations are. And I think he's trying so goddamn hard to trump that narrative to say that what you're saying is what's going on is he hurt, he's not playing up. Well, no, he's trying so hard to be something he's not. And now you're seeing the fallout from it. And that's the only thing I can come up with Jalen Hurts, because there's no way he can regress this much. There's no way.
You're correct. I mean, does different offensive coordinator each year have something to do with it?
That's tough, right? That's definitely tough. But the reason why I keep saying that I'm looking at just not the OC, but the head coach and the coaching in this instance is because your job is to build around your player's strengths, especially the quarterback. And right now you're doing this guy a disservice, man. You're doing this guy a disservice. And, maybe that's why when you go back to that play on, what was it, 4th and 1 or whatever, and he threw that bomb to AJ, everybody's like, what the hell's going on? And they say he kind of ran rogue and did his own thing. That might have been like, man, I'm done with this. Like, I want to go back to doing what I know how to do. And I feel like that's what happened. So that's why I put this on coaching, man. I mean, it takes a very strong and very intelligent person to learn different playbooks every single year. So that can definitely weigh on somebody for damn sure, right? But just his physical attributes, he just seems very hesitant with things this year. He's hesitant to run the ball. He's hesitant. Like, they stopped doing the tush push. He didn't even look right doing the tush push. And I don't think it's that he's hurt. I just don't think he's comfortable at all with who he has in front of him. Right. I don't think last year he was good, right? He didn't have any issues. So I just think unfortunately it's multiple things going on with Jalen. But again, I mean, look, I haven't looked at the betting market, but remember last year you couldn't even get an anytime touchdown for Jalen Hurts that was under -200, man. Like, it was ridiculous. Now, who knows? Now it's probably a value because we never even know if he's going to do it or not.
It is. It opens up like right around +100 plus, and it closes right at -105. It's playable, but
yes,
maybe. So on the games that they've in the beginning of the season when they were winning games and AJ Brown wasn't getting the ball, he threw a tantrum. Now you see he goes for 8 for 100 yards and then they lose the game. So it's like, what do they revert back to what was working to winning the games? Because that's what I'm not an Eagles fan, but I would like them to win games, and that would mean less touches for AJ Brown.
That's my biggest issue, man.
Are they going to be okay with his mouth and hearing that, or you know what I'm saying? It just doesn't seem like he's a real team player for the team to win. It's I got to get my stats. I don't care if we win.
Like, and that's the thing. I mean, I feel like a lot of this is them forcing the ball, and here's the crazy part: this guy's so damn good. Why should we even be talking about you forcing the ball, AJ Brown? Like, I don't understand, right? I don't. That's why I'm saying everything's just off, and there's no secret that this guy is a very selfish person on the field. Again, everybody has to just relax a little bit, because when people say he's selfish, everybody starts coming at everybody like, did you see he gave away turkeys? I'm not talking about the person. We're talking about the football player. You have to learn how to separate the two egos here. Okay, I'm not talking about everything he does off the field. I'm talking about on the field. He's a very selfish player. I get it. We've watched selfish players. Terrell Owens played in this town for multiple years. He was a very selfish player, but he also played with a broken freaking leg in the Super Bowl. Okay, so that dude was an absolute freak, and he knew, and these players know that if I get the ball, I could take over. However, you could tell, to your point, the different messaging, and I don't know how many post-game news conferences you've seen in Philadelphia, but in the beginning of the year, when the microphone was going off to Saquon Barkley, and they kept asking Saquon, what do you feel? You're not getting a lot of touches. You're not getting any, not running the ball well. And the first thing Saquon says, look, man, a win's a win. I just want to win football games. Like, I'm not worried about the stats. Dude already got paid. I just want to win football games. Now, on the other end, you got AJ, and all he's doing is crying. All he's doing is complaining, putting out cryptic tweets, and then the PR spin, which I love because I'm a PR guy. I love the PR spin because his publicist probably told him, AJ, you need to spin this a little bit. So now the narrative was, listen, everybody just wants to win. He just knows that he can really help the team. Stop. That dude is all about himself, right? He's all, and I think, last thing I'll say on that is, I do feel like there's a ton of resentment on that team, because I feel like they allowed him to run rogue last year with that stupid book. Okay, say what you want. No disrespect to it. I'm just, come on, man, with the book. Like, stop. That was a huge PR move too. If anybody else was reading a book on the sideline, okay, if Jamar Chase was reading a book on the sideline, dude, he would be chastised, okay? Stop it. That was listen, bravo to the PR department, because that was a brilliant PR save right there. Brilliant with that book, right? So now you have him on the sideline, and now listen, what's he doing? He's sulking a little bit, right? And then you give him 12 catches, and he's extremely happy, but they lose. No, so nothing comes out. I can't, Japan. I can't. I just can't look past this and say it's going to get any better, man. I think it's ruined, and I think because they allowed him last year to get away with that, and this year to get away with that, I think a couple players have lost respect for Sirianni, and I think a lot. I even think like a guy like Saquon, and is looking and going, oh, are you serious? They're letting this dude do whatever he wants. Like, I'm out. Like, I'm out. I'm not even dealing with that. That's my fear right now, and I think that's why you're seeing some bad attitudes.
You're 100% correct. I mean, I think the coach should have stepped in and grabbed that book and threw it in the stands when that happened. I mean, you're in a football game to win, not to read a book. You could do that afterwards. But
Exactly. Live right here on the Tony Cotillo Show. Make sure you're checking in, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you want to get on the line, just like Japan is right now, the link is in the comments. Very, very simple. Click on the link. You just have to have a phone. You don't even have to have your camera on if you don't want. You could call in. Like normal, I'll put you in the green room, get you on stage, get your point of view. But Japan, man, let's shift this a little bit before I get you out of here. I want to talk about, this is a big week this week. I don't know if you saw, but man, yesterday or this week, I got knocked out of the playoffs on my fantasy squad, first round. And how hurtful is it? And I said this, how hurtful is it when I have Marvin Harrison Jr. and I get beat by Michael Wilson, right? Harrison don't play. My opponent's got Michael Wilson. He drops 37 on me, right? And I got no answer. It was such a hurt piece. I got Drake London on the bench. I got Travis Hunter on the bench. I got Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm piecemealing, man. I'm piecemealing everything I could, man. I just that 37 by Michael Wilson, that was a hurt piece because I have Harrison. That sucked.
Well, I can say I'm in the same boat as you because I did tell Drake London as being my first pick. So I know what that feels in one of my leagues. And then another one, the playoffs start this week. And last week, I went to go pick up, drop Jawan Jennings to pick up DJ Moore. And I had Tony Pollard just warming the bench all
Oh,
week. Oh, so I lost, but I'm still in the playoffs in one of my, it's the high stakes league. And the play round
nice,
one, round one is this week. So
nice.
hopefully I can get it done. And I mean, I didn't really do as good as this in fantasy this year as in
Oh,
previous, and it was mostly injuries, and then
yep.
not picking up on the waiver wire like I was in the past and not being active. So I'm ready for next year already to get back in it because this year was probably one of my worst in fantasy. Well, let me tell you something. So in one of my leagues, I was like 1-6, and then I went and I cried about in the group chat. I never say anything, but then I was crying about how it was how it was managed because you can only have three people on your bench. So I was like, man, it's like
Wow.
you have to manage your team really good with three people on your bench. And I
Ooh,
said something about that. And ever since I said something about that, I want, and he was like, you, the other guy was like, well, you just got to manage your team better. And I was like, oh, you're right. And I didn't, and ever since then, I won every week since then. So
really?
hopefully, yeah, hopefully I can keep it going because I haven't responded in that chat. And if I win the championship, I will go back and say something. That's what I needed, or
Hey
whatever the case
man,
may
I
be.
like that though. I like hearing about these different. Three guys on the bench is different. Like I
It's
do
tough.
think that you need to flip it up a little bit in these fantasy leagues because we've been doing the same thing for so long. It is, I do think there is a line where you can go like three is a little much, man. I mean, maybe five. You know what I mean? Like, but three's a lot. You got to
You
be a
just
hell of a manager with three.
and you just can't you with three you can't hoard anyone. You have to if they're hurt, IR, whatever the case may be. You
How
cannot
many
hold.
IR spots do you have?
We have two, but mine
Okay,
was taken with who got hurt. Garrett Wilson was been
yep.
on my IR,
I
and
have Garrett Wilson.
there was another person that was
I
taken.
have Garrett
So,
Wilson and Travis Hunter on IR.
yep, I have Travis Hunter too, but I dropped him when I know they weren't coming back this year. But
Yeah, well, you know what? He was on my IR spot. I had nobody else injured for like IR. So I was like, you know what? Because like I can't put a guy on IR if he's just out. He has to be on IR for me to put him on IR. So like Drake London, I couldn't put. He's not on IR, so I couldn't put him on IR. Right. So and hey, I will tell you this, and I told because a couple people hit me up about the Drake London pick, and I know it's bold, but there was a good 5 or 6 weeks where he was proven he was that number one overall guy, man. Like it just injuries happened. Like there was a lot. And again, I didn't put that into fruition. But if you look at that small sample size and you average it out, dude, he's the number one wide receiver in the league for fans.
100%. I do
Crazy,
appreciate you
man.
giving me that little nugget.
Oh, I
Now,
tried, man.
to
I
switch
tried.
to NBA, what do you think your Sixers are gonna do? Because I'm a Lakers fan, and there's been a lot of trade talk about getting Giannis, and for us to get Giannis, we have to give up pretty much Austin Reeves, and that would be what the Lakers did back to get Anthony Davis back in 2019 when they had their young core. LeBron wanted AD, and he got rid of his young core, and you can't tell me that young core with Bi, Josh Hart, and all those people that the Lakers drafted wouldn't have been good enough to build a championship team. 100% they would have been. And now I just don't think that the Lakers they have the pieces. I don't want them to trade them away now. And then we have
Yeah.
Giannis, which is he's 36
Is he 36?
or 34.
Wow.
He's somewhere. So
He
if
is. He's getting up there, man.
if we get him, he's only going to be good 2 to 3 years, and then we're back in the same slump we were again. So I hope the Lakers don't make that trade and just pay Austin Reed because he has been a great number two, and he's been showing that he can be the number one when Luke is out.
Yeah. No, no, definitely. Definitely. I one thing about the Lakers, I love JJ Redick as a coach. I do. I think You know, and I was curious about that, right? Just like everybody, but it it's just like baseball, man. It's always the guy who's not the superstar, but the student of the game that always makes the good coach. And he's so I think it's a very interesting dynamic, right? So just real quick, shifting to a comparison in football. I love Pete Carroll. However, it's showing now the game kind of passed him by. And I think now in the NFL, you see this insertion of these young, hungry coaches that are not that far off of the sideline or even playing in the field. And I think with JJ Redick, it was the same way. Here's a guy that was just sweating with us 2 years ago. Right. Here's a guy that he put it all out there. He gets it. He knows what it's like to train. He knows what it's like to have an injury. He knows what it's like to be in a slump. You just relate to a guy like JJ Redick way more than you're going to relate anymore to a guy like, I'll bring to Philadelphia, like Nick Nurse. Not that I don't love Nick Nurse. I think he's a great coach. However, I think depending on the dynamic, especially with the Lakers and that team with LeBron, I think you really had to watch. Obviously the fallout with Darvin Ham, but you had to watch who they were going to bring in. And I love JJ. They obviously stole Luka Doncic, and I still can't get over that Luka's only 25. That is insane to me.
Thank you, Nico.
Right? What the hell was that dude thinking?
I don't know, but and then when JJ Redick last year, he played with Luka, so they were already familiar. JJ already knows his tendencies and what he likes, what he doesn't like. They already have a great relationship. So for him to come over, they gelled perfectly, and I'm so happy for the future, and hopefully we can re-sign Luka and keep him forever.
Now, listen, I think that that's ownership's number one goal, man. That's going to be ownership's number one goal, to obviously sign Luka Doncic forever. And listen, because I will say this, I'm not a LeBron guy. Obviously, you know that. However, I do have to say, man, to watch that last game against the Sixers, and I watched it from the beginning to the end, and to see what he was still able to do at his age is asinine. It's like I'm watching, and I'm just going, you got to be kidding me. Legitimately, like, we're talking about 44-year-old Philip Rivers coming back, right, to kind of just be a statue and a game manager, which, by the way, like I said, I think it's a fantastic move for the Indianapolis Colts. However, looking at basketball and looking at LeBron, in his 40-plus days, okay, to be able to hang with the young boys and to look like his body is chiseled like it was 15 years ago. So no matter what, Michael's still my GOAT. However, I've always said this. I still have to respect LeBron for, number one, I talked about Schwarber, but with the community stuff, the stuff that LeBron does off the court is absolutely amazing that people don't even give him credit for, and they should. And again, that's because he is a me guy, but it is what it is. If you look past that and see what he does, it's phenomenal. But to be able to still have the talent and still have the wherewithal to go in there every night and play with these young boys and put on performances like that, like he still had that in the bag, dude. I was amazed. I was amazing.
But it's like now with Luka and Austin, he only has to do it once a week because they can take the load, and that's what he's been asking his whole career, is someone to take the load off of his back.
Exactly.
He likes being the man, but hey, you can only be consistent for so freaking long, and he's been consistent his whole career.
I agree, man.
I'm not a LeBron fan whatsoever. I will say Kobe's better than LeBron till the end of time. Until the end of time. Kobe is my GOAT.
Well, there you see the number 8 in the back, bro.
But I didn't get to watch Jordan, so that's where the leg that I get to stand on, and
I like that.
I'm diehard Kobe. That man, and what it was I watched him when in New Orleans one time. He came back and well, that was his shoulder. He had ice on his shoulder. He took the ice off and he came in and played left. He shot left-handed when he
Did
came
he
back in the league.
really?
Yeah, me and my dad were like, "Is he really
Wow.
shooting left-handed right now?" I was like, "He's really in here for the fans that bought that one ticket to
Yep.
see him that night, and he really came out and played." And that's when I gained the most respect for him.
He was phenomenal. I mean, it, it's why I say I'm so blessed in this world. I'm 47, and to be able to sit here and tell people and tell my kids that, you know, I've witnessed probably the best goats in basketball ever play. And this is not pitting anybody against each other. When you talk about Kobe Bean Bryant, when you talk about Michael, when you talk about LeBron, when you talk about Steph Curry, when you talk about these guys that I've been like, I got to watch them all in their prime. Are you kidding me? Like, that's when like some people talk about the GOAT debate when they just want to say, is it Jordan or is it LeBron? And I always say, you know what? At the end of the day, I don't care. I got to watch both of these dudes play in their prime. I mean, how many people get to say that they've witnessed a different generational talent, you know, of these GOAT statuses in their prime? So I feel, because I don't think nowadays that if you go back and say start in 2000 and I don't know, maybe 15, 2017, whatever it is, I don't think you're going to get that now. You're not going to be like, oh, we have all these goats, right? You're not, man. That was an error. Those two errors, man, was kind of like between, I will say, I don't want to just say 90s, it's probably like late 80s, maybe like 80, 85, 86, and then go all the way up to like 2010. I mean, my Lord, the players that we've witnessed, I don't even want to pit anybody up against each other because everything was so great, man.
But
It really
but
was.
but the game has changed so much from the 90s of
Mm.
being such a 2-point game
Yep.
and then Stephen Curry to make it a 3-point game now. The game has changed. You have to be a shooter, and there's some. I mean, some bigs make it, but you got to be able to shoot the three, and that's just
You're
how
right.
Curry has absolved, made the game go bigger. So
He is definitely took the game to another level, man. Well, listen, man, before I get you out of here, a big weekend coming up. You know, you got anything planned this weekend?
Um, so I will. I'm flying out to Vegas for a funeral, but
Oh,
I'll be
sorry
out
to
there.
hear.
Yeah, I'll be out there. So I won't really be in the. Won't be really betting that much actually this weekend. I'll probably take a little break from
It's always good to
Friday.
do.
Yeah, yeah, I'll take a little break. Even though that I'll still be in Vegas, I'm not gonna go to the casinos or anything like that. I'll be hanging with family time and everything like that. But I don't have any plans after this new year. Whenever the baseball schedule comes out, I'm gonna get up with you, Tony, and I'm gonna come
Yeah,
out there
man.
for a weekend, and we're
That'd
gonna
be
hang
awesome,
out for
bro.
sure.
We'll try to get our boy Sia involved in that too, man.
Oh yeah, well, for sure.
Because he said he's only a quick train ride. I think he's out. He's probably about an hour and a half out, something like that. So,
Macho,
um,
the Washington D.C. area, I think it is.
yeah, he's
I
not.
don't know how to
He's
say
less
Macho
than 2
Perro.
hours.
I don't know how to say that where he lives at.
Where? Washington.
Washington. It's the Montreux Peloton or
Metropolitan.
that's it. I can't
Okay.
say it.
Yeah. Again, it'll be awesome, man. Like I said, that would be really really cool, brother. That would be really cool. I know. You know, we'll probably see some shore bombs for sure, but that would be definitely pretty cool for
And I
sure.
do. And before
Well,
I get out of here,
yeah,
tell AJ I said what's up. I do appreciate his fantasy talks,
man.
and I
It's
can't wait
funny,
for
man.
him.
No, I will, dude. I will. He's been grinding, so he just hit his first quarter. So the last 3 weeks have been crazy for him because what they do is he has to get 1,200 hours. So he just hit his 400 hours. And once you get to your 400, the grind between 3 to 400 is big. And then once you do that, you have to take a bunch of practice tests. And you have to. So he's cutting like 5 people's hair a week here at home in his barber area, let alone cutting goats every day at school and doing so. He's been taking a little break, but he will tell you when he comes on next that unfortunately I got to hear him because the league that I lost in is the league that I'm in with him, and me and my other son both lost. And AJ got the first round bye. So all he's talking about is, well, when you draft like me, bro, I'm like, man, I got to live this down, man. Come on, he's killing me.
What was his big one? That JSN, and look how that
Yes.
turned out for him. He was so big on it, and he was correct. Got to give it to him.
He
AJ, you
talks
were correct.
about it all the time. He talks about it every day. Let's see, JSN, bro. I told you, JSN. And you know what's funny? I'll leave it this because and you'll see this when your kids get older. We're always jabbing each other, and sometimes I let my emotions run wild and I get mad at players and just call them stiffs for no reason. And last year there was a game, I forget what it was, with Jess, and I was like, man, this guy ain't going to be nothing, man. Like, whatever. I'm so tired, Jess. So, and I was just mad. And AJ, remember last year, Dad? Oh, yeah, I thought it wasn't going to be nothing. I know, all the time, bro. You'll see. You're going to get that too. You're going to get that too.
It was like when I was like to my. That's how I am to my dad. But,
See.
Thank you for bringing me on, Tony, and hit the like and subscribe, and can't wait to get Jigsaw crazy again.
Oh man, we'll be getting Jigsaw crazy again. Don't worry. Holidays are coming, but we'll be getting Jigsaw crazy. I think. I think you may hear some more of me after January somewhere. So we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, obviously we're right here right now, but discussions are going on. That's all I'll say. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But listen, Japan, if I'll talk to you personally before then, happy holidays. As always, safe travels this weekend. Sorry for your loss. And again, man, we'll catch you back on here. I appreciate you chiming in.
Thank you. Y'all have a great night.
All right, brother. Take care, brother. There's my man, Japan, checking in. Again, if you want to subscribe, hit that notification bell. But if you want to get involved in the program, very, very easy. You can come on like Japan right there, or you could just call on the phone, call on the line, and talk about what you want to vent about. So right now, my man, you the man, Japan. Now you the man, bro. You are the man. Listen, I said all the time, the support I get is always amazing, and I greatly, greatly appreciate it. Now you know what time it is. Now it's time for the Tony's top three. Okay, it's something, again, top three stories that I see. My top three stories. Okay, and we're going to throw a couple people under the rug. We're going to call fraud a fraud. But most importantly, one of the big signings of the winter meetings signed for more money than Kyle Schwarber. Who is it? So this is Tony's top three right here on the Tony Cotillo Show, where I take my top three stories that I see, whether they're trending stories, whether I read them, whether I heard them, and I bring them to here for debate. And the number one story that I want to talk about first, okay, is you saw, again, Kyle Schwarber, 5 years, $150 million, stays here in Philadelphia. But how about Pete Alonso? Signs with Baltimore for $5,155. Baltimore says, I'm going to give Pete Alonso more money than Kyle Schwarber. To me, major mistake. However, the reason why I bring this up is I want to throw this up on the screen because, again, how bad has it gotten in New York? And God damn it, do I absolutely love it. Okay? Do I love it? Look at this lineup right now. Are you kidding me? This is the Mets' potential starting lineup in 2026. Now that, again, you have no more Pete Alonso too. Francisco Lindor, who I absolutely love. I love Francisco Lindor. Marcus Semien, who I still think has a little bit left. But you see that Juan Soto? You see that Juan Soto name right there? You talk about how we're talking about Philadelphia about AJ Brown. Well, congratulations, New York. You have your AJ Brown and Juan Soto because nobody wants to play at Juan Soto. Look at everybody; they're just getting rid of everybody, right? Get rid of everybody because nobody wants to play at Juan Soto. It's crazy to me. This lineup right here needs a lot of work, and I'm still talking about again, Pete Alonso. 5 years, 155 to Baltimore. Was not expecting Baltimore to sign Pete Alonso. I really wasn't. I'm absolutely shocked. Okay. And I'm shocked that he's getting more money than Kyle Schwarber. And look at that lineup for the Mets, man. I don't think they thought, oh, and by the way, how about Edwin Diaz leaving and signing with the Dodgers? Their elite club gone. He goes and signs with the Dodgers. Like, how are you just no? Isn't Steve Cohen supposed to be a guy who just pays everybody? Isn't he supposed to just pay everybody? It's crazy to me, man. Crazy. You got Juan Soto there. He's racking up all the cash, and everybody's just leaving, man. Everybody's just leaving. Just crazy times. Okay. Now, let's get to the frauds. Okay. I got one big fraud. Okay. I got one big fraud. So we all know what's going on out there in Cleveland. Okay. So I'm going to call fraud on Browns owner Jimmy Haslam. He's an absolute fraud. Okay. You know those people that sneak behind your back and talk about you. They say one thing and then they act like another. That's Jimmy Haslam. Okay, that's Jimmy Haslam. This dude's an absolute fraud. Okay, let me just bring up. Okay, let me just bring up Browns owner Jimmy Haslam in April. Okay, shout out to Hova76 on X at Hova76. Okay, for bringing this to the equation. Okay, for bringing this to the forefront. Thank you, Hova. Love Jay-Z, by the way. Browns owner Jimmy Haslam in April. I quote. We had no plans of drafting Shador. If you would have asked me, I would have told you we were not drafting Shador. Now he just throws a game for 395, 4 touchdowns. And what do we see? What do we see? A picture of him talking to Dion. Hey there, Dion. Great to have you, brother. How are you? Hugging him, giving him the high fives, giving him the praise. Stop. Like, I can't stand fraudulent people. I can't. Just own up to it, bro. Own up that you did not want this. Own up to it. Like, stop with the fraudulent behavior, man. Stop with the fraudulent behavior. So, again, that's why I call Jimmy Haslam a fraud. An absolute fraud. I can't stand it, man. Yeah, Japan says, I wish the Raiders would have gotten Sanders. So I think I'm not gonna say I think. I know that this kid's gonna be legit, right? He's not gonna be elite. He's gonna be a good quarterback. He is. He has the moxie, man. He has the build. He has the broad shoulders, meaning he has the thick skin. Dion's taught him the right way that in that perspective. I know people don't like him because he's a little flashy, right? Is this and that? Come on, man. Like we've dealt with. I dealt with that in this town forever with guys like AI. I'm not worried about that. Just show me what you can do on the field. Just show me what you can do on the field. That's all we got to do. So that right there, that's my number 2 on my top 3. That's Jimmy Haslam acting like a little fraudulent rat, right? Coming up. Oh, hey, yeah, we're not. Hey, Dion, how you doing? Oh, great to see you. Great to have you. Stop. Can't stand it. Now let's bring in the last one of the night on the top 3. And if you're a wrestling fan like me, I think everybody knows that John Cena's last match ever will happen at Saturday Night's Main Event this weekend. I can't wait to see it. And the reason why I say John Cena is the ultimate pro, because he sat down, he's been doing an interview tour, right? Obviously, he's been doing an interview tour talking about he just signed a 5-year ambassador deal. Wants to be an ambassador for the WWE. And again, he was on the podcast and he was asked with Chris Van Vliet, and it was asked certain guys about his wrestling, his compadres, so to speak, right? His locker room dudes. And they said, when I say this guy, give me one word to describe him. And he never wavered on any of these names. So let me just throw them out there. Cody Rhodes, he says, resilient. Randy Orton, smooth. R-Truth, beautiful. Logan Paul, underrated. I firmly agree with that. CM Punk, my wrestling soulmate. Brock Lesnar, once in a genre. And this one, I strongly feel AJ Styles, the best to ever do it. And the reason why I say he's the ultimate pro is because John Cena, he wasn't supposed to be the GOAT. John Cena was never booked to be the GOAT. He was supposed to be a parody. He was supposed to be an entertainment piece. That's all he was supposed to be. He was never supposed to be the GOAT. And this dude outworked everybody. This dude did more than anybody. And exactly, you can't see me, right? John Cena, you can't see me. It's a part of my childhood, man. He's a part of my late early 20s, right? Like my early 20s. And the reason why I say he's the ultimate pro is I've watched other wrestlers and I've watched them go on podcasts. And when they get asked about other wrestlers, sometimes they struggle on what to say. You know what that means? It means that they don't really have anything good to say about them. So they struggle with trying to hide their actual real words, right? They struggle. So when I saw this interview and I saw John Cena, it just rolled off the tongue. Every single guy, it just rolled off the tongue. So I want to touch on two guys real fast. Number one is Logan Paul. I will say this about Logan Paul. Logan Paul does not need a payday. Okay. We've watched WWE for several years bring in, this goes back to the first ever WrestleMania when you brought in Cyndi Lauper and Mr. T, right? Those people needed a payday. They weren't real wrestlers. They weren't going to buy in. They just needed a payday. Yes, he has his drink prime and his podcast, and obviously there's deals. I get that. However, he could just come in to get paid. This dude's a worker. And I'm going to tell you what, man, what he's able to do inside that ring, what he's able to showcase as just a normal guy. And I know he's a fighter and all that, but still, he's not a professional wrestler. He learning how to take bumps, right? Learning how to do scripted matches, learning how to protect yourself. Logan Paul, I so agree with John Cena when he says underrated. Logan Paul is the most underrated wrestler on any roster in professional wrestling. I'm sticking with that take. Now, I'm going to end it with this. AJ Styles. AJ Styles, he says, the best to ever do it. The best to ever do it. I'll tell you what. AJ Styles is a guy that, again, I look at him and say, if he would have had his whole career in WWE, I think he would have ultimately been the GOAT over John Cena. AJ Styles was that good. AJ Styles was that damn good. And I love that he came to WWE. I still watch that entrance at the Royal Rumble when he just looked around like, holy shit, this is what I was missing. So for John Cena to say that right there, the best to ever do it, man, what a tip of the cap to AJ Styles, the phenomenal one. And speaking of phenomenal, I want to thank everybody for a great and fantastic show. Everybody checking in, Japan, for joining me on the line, on the Roger React Media hotline. I absolutely love it. Make sure you like and subscribe. You keep following the channel for whether it's betting, whether it's fantasy, whether it's sports talk. I got a good guest next week for the podcast, for Tone Control Show podcast. We'll talk about a little Bo Jackson talk, which will be fun. And then don't forget Fighting for Overtime, the U Sports podcast that I'm very passionate about. I just dropped a new episode this week. Check it out on all social formats. Japan just dropping a bet. Mike Evans, anytime touchdown at plus 165. The GOAT comes back. The GOAT comes back in Mike Evans. I love it. I like the play. I'm going to play it. Make sure you scan the QR code up there for all the free plays. Get over to Oddshot for Tails for all your betting needs. Get over to BetQL for all your DFS needs. And also for your game scripts, use that code word Jigsaw 15%. Everybody, as always, thank you again. Like, subscribe, notify. Well, everybody, again, stay safe, stay healthy. Catch you back here next.